It was the last Saturday before Christmas, just a normal winter day. Dean woke early, as he always did. He turned in the bed to look at his wife. Samantha was beautiful, inside and out. He watched her lying there as the moonlight lit up her face. He gently moved a strand of blonde hair and planted a kiss on her forehead. It was a peaceful moment, her chest rising and falling as she continued to sleep. She and the kids were all that mattered to him. Every breath he took was for them and them alone. Their 3 children slept in the other room. They had given the master bedroom to them. It was a sacrifice they had to make. Moving to a larger house was out of their reach. They made do with a 2-bedroom home. Luckily, the rooms were fairly large, and they had a huge living room for the children to play in. Dean, after kissing Samantha on the forehead again, slowly climbed out of bed. He always slept on the same side, the one that let him quickly get up, while Samantha had the wall side. He crept along the landing as to not wake anyone and headed downstairs. Being on the autistic spectrum, he relied on routine, and his morning caffeine fix was one part he couldn't do without. It was a cold, dark morning, and the house itself felt icy. Dean checked the gas meter as a routine. Out of credit it read, "No wonder it is freezing," he thought, as he rubbed his hands together and stepped into the kitchen. It was that time of year. Money was so tight that they couldn't even afford more milk or sugar for his coffee. He decided to have it black, but all that was left was the last dregs of a cheap blend. Not exactly dough Egberts, he thought to himself, as he tipped a single teaspoon into a cup. This wasn't just any cup, but his favorite, the one Samantha had bought him with her very first working wage. He heard the creak of the upstairs floorboards. He knew it meant either Samantha or one of the children was up. That was something he could do without at 4 a.m. He poured a cup worth of water into the kettle and turned it on. He started to count the minutes as he knew the electric usage had gone through the roof. He peeped into the living room and saw the meter gauge in the red. Hurry up, he thinks to himself. The last thing he wanted was the kettle waking anyone else. After pouring the water into his cup and giving it a stir, he returned to the living room and peeped through the window. The car and road was covered in thick snow. Something else he could do without. He heard the creak again and the toilet flush. Hopefully they will go back to sleep, he thought, as he took a sip of his scalding coffee and held the cup tightly, hoping the heat would warm his hands. It was Samantha. She peeped her head around the door as Dean sat on the couch, taking another slow sip of his coffee. "Morning, my love," he said without looking back, just sat there staring at the steam raising from his cup. "Gas is gone again as usual. I swear I topped it up yesterday." Samantha settled beside him, planting herself close and resting her legs across his. "You did? We'd already used up the £10 emergency credit and were £5 in debt. So the 20 you put on only gave us 5. And, well, I had the heating on all day and forgot to turn it off last night." Dean gently run his hand on her leg. "You know I was paid early, and all my bills only go out after the 28th. Samantha sat up and kissed Dean on the cheek. "We will get through this together, just like we always have." Dean took another sip. "I'll have to leave soon. It snowed, so I'll need to clear the car. I'm going in for 6 and I've got a long shift ahead. We both know we need the money. I'll be back about 6 tonight." Samantha smiled at him. "I'll let you get on with it then. At least the kids will have a good Christmas with all the presents we've got them." "You have hidden them well? Wouldn't be good if they found them?" Samantha chuckled. She rubbed her feet against his leg for warmth. "Yes, they are in the cupboard under the stairs with the fridge in the way I don't think they can get into it." "I wouldn't pin my hopes on that if I was you. Stephen could. His little fingers love to take things apart just for the fun of it, and he seems to find things we didn't know we even had." Samantha laughed again. "Don't I know it? So many times I've found ripped open teddies or squishes with their insides missing. Took me an hour to clear the mess from the bedroom windowsill, not to mention the number of times I find him with scissors cutting up stuff. I'm sure he has a hiding place he puts them." The both laughed together. "Seriously now, you should get back to bed. It's early, only 4:30. So that how it is? I come down, and now you want rid of me. That's not what I said. The kids only went to bed at nearly midnight. You need your sleep. I'm only going to be back around 6. You'll have them all day. You only want to spend time with me if I get these out. She lifted up her top. You only want me for one thing. Dean shakes his head. Not what I said. I have to get to work soon, and you know it's in Chorley with that weather. It's going to take even longer. All you care about is work? Not got time for me? Get out now. This is my house. I pay the rent. I know someone in your work has caught your eye. Go to your floozy. Samantha starts to pull Dean from the couch. At least let me get my coat and keys. She opened the door, stomped over to the coat hanger, grabbed the coat and threw it out of the door. There you go. Get it and get gone. All Dean could do was go after the coat. The door slammed behind, and he heard it being locked. No point in trying, he thought as he put on his coat, now covered in snow. He wiped off the remaining snow and walked over to the car. It was a large 7-seater Toyota Estima hybrid. They all loved having the space inside. He checked the road was clear, as they lived on a busy main road and the house didn't have a drive. He got in, and for a moment the key wouldn't work, something his 18-year-old car did almost daily. Eventually the key was detected and the car started up. Another habit was always checking the fuel gauge, which was on 1/3 of a tank. Enough for the weekend shifts, he thought to himself as he picked up the scraper and turned on the heating to full blast. Instantly the engine kicked in and he noticed the fumes from the exhaust drifting past the slightly opened driver's door. He checked to make sure no cars were coming before opening it fully. He stepped out to start the fun of clearing the windows. It took Dean several minutes to clear the snow. His hands felt frozen, as if a single impact could make them shatter into a million pieces. He gently rubs them together and noticed Samantha stood at the door watching him. "Come here," she said. "I remember the last time you said that. I'll give it a pass, thanks. I just want to kiss you goodbye. You said the same thing last time and you slammed the door in my face. Not again, never again." With that said, she slammed the door so hard snow fell from the living room window as Dean entered the car. Now inside, it was a lot warmer, but the steering wheel was still freezing. He linked his phone's Bluetooth and selected Amazon Music, putting on his favorite song, which at the time was All We Do by Oh Wonder, a married duo from London. The song started. Dean sung along with the words, "All we do is hide away." Tears start to form as he pulled away. The drive to work passed in a haze of tears. He was on autopilot, driving a route he had done for years, but something felt wrong. The snow on the road was beginning to thaw, and he noticed some black ice already forming. Normally, the journey from Wigan to Chorley was about 30 minutes without traffic, but being careful, it had taken him nearly 50. He pulled up on a side street. There wasn't any car parks near his work that didn't have either 3-hour limit or charged for the parking. It was something he had gotten used to after starting his current job as a laboratory technician in Specsavers. All his other jobs had their own private car park. It was about 10 minutes walk to work from where he was parked and had to climb up a large hill. He hated it, especially today, covered in snow and ice. "I need a proper coffee. At least they have everything for one in work," he thought to himself as he finally stepped up to Specsavers' door. He fumbled for the key attached to his car key. He knew someone was already in, as the lights had already been turned on. Even as he started to push the key into the door, he decided to check his phone first. No messages. He put in his passcode and checked his work security app to make sure the alarm was off. Good. I don't want to be the one to set it off, he thought to himself as he turned the key and opened the door. He is hit by the heat. His glasses instantly steamed up. He closed the door behind him and looked at pushing on it to make sure it had. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a cloth to wipe his glasses clean. He wiped his feet on the mat before walking to the door at the far end of the shop floor. Glasses was on show all around. Every wall and stands filled with Specsavers' own glasses or designer ones. No matter what, Dean always chose the same ones called 2 is by Jeff Banks. He was now 41, and his eyes had degraded enough that he needed glasses for reading, and his work required that. He pushed open the door and clicked its magnetic lock in place, stopping it from closing. something he did every day he was in work. He headed up the stairs, doing the same thing for that door, leading into another waiting room. He entered the staff-only area leading to the lab staff room and toilets. He could already hear the humming of the machines and droning of the compressors underneath the radio. 3 sounds didn't complement each other, they competed. Dean took off his coat and pegged it up. Under it, he had his Specsavers shirt and jacket. He could already feel the cold creeping back into his bones, as there wasn't a single radiator in the lab, only a portable electric oil heater that hadn't been turned on yet, located in the staff room. He filled the kettle with some water and turned it on. Finally, he noticed the Douwe Egberts sat on top of the microwave. Thank goodness, he thinks, as he takes a clean, random cup and tips 2 teaspoons to it. And sugar. He greedily took 3 teaspoons of sugar into his cup. Now all I need is milk, and this would be heaven. He opened the fridge and took the milk, poured about a quarter of the cup of it. The kettle clicked, steam filled his nostrils as he poured the water and filled up the cup to near the brim. He breathed in the strong coffee. Finally, he was ready for work, and he still had 10 minutes still. His shift started. He entered the lab with his cup in hand. Another thing he had gotten used to here. He placed it down near the inputting computer and switched on the tracer machine next to it. He looked under the desk to the side and found a lot of work needed to be inputted. Not normal for the Christmas period, but he had come to be used to it with the day he was having already. He took his seat and lowered it. Everyone else seemed to have the seat up as high as they could. That wasn't good for posture. He preferred to be eye height with the monitor. He ran the calibration of the tracer every morning first thing and started to try up the work. Each one was a prescription for a pair of glasses. He had to input the try number, stored number, the job number, due date, frame number, and prescription for each one. The morning passed in a haze of traying up and inputting the jobs. That was all he was there for. It was around dinner time when his phone vibrated in his pocket. Phones weren't allowed in work unless it was work-related, but after the morning he didn't care. He needed to know. It was a message from Samantha. It read, "Sorry about this morning. I'm going to take the kids out. They are bouncing off the walls and want to get in the snow. I think I'll take them into Wigan and get a few things we still need. I love you, Dean X." Dean quickly replied, "Go for it, and I love you too." Ksh. He took a calming breath. He knew she would come around. She always did. The rest of the afternoon passed a lot quicker. He had a few minutes until his shift ended. The phone vibrated in his pocket not once, but continued to do. Dean took it out and checked the number. It was from Wigan. He answered, "Hello? Is this Dean I'm speaking to?" Came a woman's soft, warm voice. "Yes, it is," he said, shaking. "I'm calling from the Royal Albert Hospital Emergency Department. I'm afraid your family has been in a fatal accident. Police are involved. You should come here quickly. I'm sorry." The call went dead. He flung his phone in his pocket and walked off without saying a word. He collected his coat and rushed out of the staff area and pushed past anyone that got in his way. He didn't hear the voices of the staff asking him what was wrong. He just ran. He didn't care about anything but getting to the hospital. He hadn't noted the word fatal in the call and clung to the hope somehow they was alive. The drive to the hospital took too long in Dean's eyes. Every car seemed to be going slow. The snow had long melted into an icy slush. As he got there, parking delayed him even more. Frustration was building up. Every parking bay was taken. Finally, he gave up and parked on a license holder, only parking opposite the hospital. Without thinking, he opened the car door, forcing the oncoming car to slam on. He ignored it and ran across the road toward the emergency department. There were several ambulances queued up. He entered the hospital and saw several police officers around. He approached one. "My name is Dean. I was told to come here," he said in a shaky voice. His hands shook too. The woman's face softened. "Come with me. This is best done in private." He follows her, and another officer joined them as they headed to a side room. They motioned Dean inside and closed the door behind them. "This is best done sitting down," the male officer said. Dean sat down, glad as he felt his legs could give away at any time. The female officer sat down opposite him. "I'm afraid it's bad news. Your wife and children didn't make it." Those words hit Dean harder than a bullet train. He looked up at her and said one word: how? The two officers share a look, and Mail nodded. They was in a taxi going from Wigan to We Assume You're Home. Dean nodded. Sam never learnt to drive. I was the only one who could, and I had to work today. If only I didn't. The officer gently places her hand in his. Don't blame yourself, this was an accident. Dean looked back up at her. How? He asked again. It was Warrington Lane crossroad with Darlington Street. They were travelling south on Warrington Lane when speeding car ran the red light along Darlington Street. Why? He simply asked. The officers shared another look, and the male nodded again. I'm afraid the driver was fleeing from us. Why? Dean managed to say again. The driver was a known dealer and part of a growing criminal gang in the area. That is all we can tell you, as it's an ongoing investigation. She pulled her hand from Dean's. We will send you a specialist team to help you with all this. Did you at least catch him? The officer shook her head. I'm afraid he fled the scene on foot. We couldn't chase after him as we had to help deal with the accident. We had deployed a helicopter, but no luck tracking him yet. Does this gang have a name? The male officer speaks. They call themselves the Red Vipers. That's all we can say. Red Vipers, Dean said to himself in a muttered voice. Yes, but this is an active investigation, so we can't tell you anymore. The female officer handed Dean a key. This was found on Samantha, along with her provisional license. Dean took the key and started to rotate it in his fingers. We always said we would get another one cut, just never got around to it. It's even bent slightly, it's been that way for years. We have to get back to our duties. Dean looked up to the officer. Can I see them? The male officer gently placed his hand on Dean's shoulder. We are sorry, but the answer is no. The speed of the collision was very high, no one in the taxi could survive, and we pronounced them dead at the scene. The taxi had spun over several times before it stopped. The coroners must do their job first, said the male officer. The female officer placed her hand on his again. We will be in touch with any updates we can share with you. Have you got any friends or family members you can turn to? No, it's just me now. My friends live in Chorley, and my parents haven't spoken to me in over a year. Then we will send someone to check on you. I'm Detective Constable Maya Collins, and this is Detective Sergeant Nathan Cole. If you need anything, ask for us, and we will see what we can do. Dean's hand tightens around the key. That moment, a call on their radio came through. Dean didn't process what was said, but the officers rushed out of the room without a further word. Now sat alone, the name Red Vipers goes through his mind. Never again. The journey home, if you could call it that now, was all in a blur. Dean stepped up to the door and half expected to hear screaming from the children and Samantha shouting at them, but it was eerily quiet. Out of habit, he knocked on the door, waited to hear little footsteps and noise as one of the children tried in vain to unlock the door, but none of that happened. He stood there for a moment before he put the key in the lock and opened the door. The living room was how they had left it. Toys on the floor, rubbish bag near the door ready to go in the outside bin. The TV still played YouTube shorts on repeat that his daughter always had on. The heat in the room was unexpected. He climbed over the toy to check the meter, £25 in credit. Sam must have topped up, Dean thought to himself as he entered the kitchen, to find a new Do Egbert's coffee and sugar waiting for him. The fridge was fully stocked up, and there it was, milk, everything he needed for a good coffee. And then he saw it, a bottle of Chardonnay, not just any Chardonnay, but his favourite McGuigan Black Label Chardonnay. He took the bottle, opened it and took a big swig of it. Cold, refreshing. He took the bottle upstairs to his bedroom where he had a computer and started to write the events of the day. The first words he wrote was, "Never again." For a moment the words sounded out in his mind, never again, never. He started to write, reliving every moment of the day, sealing it to his memory. I took the bottle and had another swig. Time no longer mattered to him. Work didn't, Either all that mattered was the memory of that day, the name Red Vipers played in his mind once again. He did a quick search to find there was a worldwide cartel that had its hands in every form of crime known to humanity. They weren't human, they was animals. By midnight and a full bottle of wine, his short story was written. He posted online. By morning there was a knock on his door. Dean woke up with a start. His mouth still tasted of the wine and felt dry. He stared at his computer, linked to his WhatsApp account. He had over 1,000 messages. Shocked, he heard the knock on the door again. He stood and headed downstairs to open the door. He was still in his work clothes. It was the 2 police officers he had spoken to the day before. DC Maya Collins and DS Nathan Cole stood there. "May we come in? It's very important we speak to you." Dean motioned for them to enter. The 2 police officers entered, their expressions a mix of sympathy and seriousness. Dean closed the door behind them, and they stood awkwardly in the living room, taking its disarray. DC Collins spoke first. "We read your story. It's very powerful." Dean just nodded, still feeling the effects of the alcohol and lack of sleep. DS Cole looked around the room, taking note of the mess and the TV still playing shorts. DC Collins found the remote and turned it to a news channel. Breaking news flashed on the bottom of the screen caught Dean's attention. The reporter started to tell the story. "Last night at 12 o'clock, and story was posted within minutes. It went viral. Never Again, written by a man called Solan Viralan." The room fell silent as they all absorbed the news on the screen. Dean was stunned, his words reaching the world in a way he never imagined. DS Cole broke the silence. "It didn't take long for your story to go viral." DC Collins nodded in agreement. "It's everywhere. People are sharing it, discussing it, talking about it. And we know you written it. And we are grateful you changed everyone's names, including your own." "Smart move!" All Dean could do was nod. DS Cole continued. "Thanks to you, we now have leads. This morning we was flooded with other 100 calls, and one call was all that mattered. We have him." DS Cole's words were like a punch to the gut. Dean stared at him, stunned. DC Collins placed a hand on his shoulder. "We wanted you to know that your story made a difference." DS Cole nodded in agreement. "It was your words that got people talking, and that's what led us to him." Dean felt a mix of relief and disbelief. "How?" DC Collins started to explain. "It was a doctor from a private hospital. Seems he didn't escape unharmed and had several broken ribs from the accident. Your story and mention of the Red Vipers made the doctor, who saw a branded Red Viper tattoo on the man's back, report him to us." Dean nodded. "From CCTV cameras from the hospital, we was able to identify him and track him from and to the hospital. Footage placed him near the accident at the time. We have now raided his house and found enough evidence to link him to the Red Vipers and the car involved in the accident, fingerprints and so on." Dean nodded again. "I speak for me and DS Cole when I say we are truly honored to have met you and keep writing. Your story brought tears to our eyes, and we were involved in the case. It's so impressive how you did that. You are an unsung hero. Dean, or should I say Solan?" DS Cole looked at him with a mixture of respect and sympathy. "You've done a remarkable thing here. Your story gave us what we needed." DC Collins smiled. "And you did it with such grace and dignity. Solan Viralan. It suits you." Dean, no, Solan, felt a strange sense of pride. He had never thought his writing would have such real-world consequences. "I am both. Solan will be my writing name. Before this, I was a science fiction author, but nothing took off. Maybe Solan can make that happen." DS Cole nodded. "I think the world will respond to your writing, Solan." DC Collins smiled. "Your perspective is unique and powerful. People will relate to it." Dean took a deep breath and exhaled slowly. "I wrote that story as a way to cope with the loss of my family, but I never expected it to have such an impact so quickly. It's not even been a day yet." DS Cole leaned forward slightly, his voice quiet but intense. "That's the power of truth, Dean. When someone writes from the bone-deep place you did, Without filter, without fear, it cut straight through the noise of the world. DC Collins nodded, her fingers tapping absently against her notebook. And now the whole internet's asking two questions. Who is this Solon Virelon, and what happens next? She paused, then added carefully, "Are you ready for that?" The silence stretched between them, heavy with implications. Outside, a car horn blared, an ordinary sound in a world that no longer felt ordinary. Dean stared at his hands, that still ached from last night's typing frenzy, and wondered if grief had accidentally forged something far larger than himself. Then, softly but with gathering certainty, "I think I have to be. The world needs Solon Virelon, not Dean." The officers nodded. "We have more work than we can handle, so we must be off. I'm sure others will be in contact with you. Just remember, the Red Vipers are not in your imagination, they are real, and if they found out your real identity—" Dean nodded. "I am Solon Virelon. They won't find out about my other name." The next few days passed in a blur of writing, posting, and publishing his books. In with weeks, book sales of his Soulverse franchise took off, and his first payment sent a shockwave through Solon's mind. 1 million was deposited into his bank account. The money rolled in, the fans rolled in, and Dean found himself living a writer's dream. But with the sudden success came unexpected challenges. Reporters wanted interviews, TV shows demanded appearances, and Dean felt the pressure of maintaining Solon's identity, never able to reveal his true self to the world. He hid behind the fame. The anonymity fueled his creativity in ways he never thought possible. His writing was never the same.